Hi, my name is Chris, and I am a first year internal medicine resident physician in the beautiful city of Baltimore, Maryland. And in this video series, I will teach you how to save a sailboat from sinking, how to restore it, and how to sail it. In this episode, I'll go over how I came into contact with the sailboat named Sea Spirit. It was an adventure. At the time, I was working at MedStar Harbor Hospital in Baltimore, Maryland, which had this amazing view of the Patapsco River Bay. I went into work just like on any other normal, regular day. I came to the office, I looked out the window, and there it was, a capsized sailboat. Everybody had a lot of questions. What happened? Where did the boat come from? How did it get there? So many questions. So after work, I decided to go and investigate. This was my first contact with the boat. It was leaning on its port side and was taking in a lot of water. It was pretty difficult to access and it seemed to have gotten stuck. After a couple of days, it even appeared in the local newspaper. The caption read, "Shipwrecked sailboat next to Ferry Bar Park in Port Covington. SouthBmore.com does not have any information at this time about how the boat got there, and if anyone was in the boat at the time it ran aground." As time went by, more and more people started showing up to the boat, so I struck up a conversation with one of them. I learned that the owner had posted the boat on Facebook, saying that whomever can get the boat out first can claim it for themselves and own it. As I've come to find out, the story of the boat was a little wacky. The boat was docked for many years at White Rocks Marina in Pasadena, which is roughly 30 minutes away from Baltimore City. The previous owner decided to give it to charity, and a Baltimore resident acquired it through the charitable auction unwittingly. They did not expect that they were going to win it.
As I step on board.
This is Eugene, an architect by trade, a Baltimore resident for over 20 years, and an overall amazing guy who won the sailboat at the charitable auction.
Yeah. Oh my God.
So Eugene set sail from White Rocks Marina, Pasadena, sailed the boat all the way up the Patapsco River, and brought it to the city of Baltimore. Once in Baltimore, Eugene couldn't dock Sea Spirit at the marina because he didn't have a designated boat slip, so he decided to drop anchor at Ferry Bar Park. Overnight, there was a huge storm with an unusually high tide. The ship lost its anchor and got carried closer to the shoreline. Once the high tide receded, the ship got stuck and capsized. To make matters worse, if Sea Spirit started leaking in diesel into the bay, Eugene would be on the hook for $50,000 in fines. So he reached out to the boating community through Facebook, saying that whomever can get the boat out first can own it. People were coming in from all over the East Coast to try to get it. I had no boating knowledge whatsoever at the time, but I thought that it would be a fun adventure to take part in and to learn as much as I could. So I teamed up with Todd, who used to be Sea Spirit's neighbor at White Rocks Marina, and his friend Jose, both of whom didn't want to own Sea Spirit, but they just wanted to help. And so it became a race against the clock.
That pole is not taking water on. That port pole is not taking water on.
First, we had to assess the degree of the damage. Sea Spirit is a big, all-wooden sailboat. It's 36 feet long, and if counting the bowsprit and dinghy davit, its length is roughly 50 feet. The boat was in terrible shape. The main cabin was halfway filled with water. The engine was submerged. The floor panels were floating, and the electric circuit breaker was missing. The entire length of the boat on the port side was submerged underwater. The captain's wheel was missing, and the boat was taking in more and more water every day. Fortunately, there was good news too. The hull was intact.
But the wood's in excellent shape. I cannot see the keel at all.
There was a lot of work to do, and we needed a game plan. The first thing to do was to get all of the water out. To do that, we used a simple bilge pump connected to a 12-volt battery. It removed a lot of the water. Then we continued removing the water using buckets.
You know, that's minor. That's minor? That's minor. If the engine runs, that's minor.
And then finally, we moved on to using a gas-powered trash pump, which we got on board using a canoe. Once we pumped all of the water out, the boat got lighter and repositioned itself to be upright. Now we had to figure out how to get Sea Spirit unstuck. There were a couple of ideas that floated around. We considered getting a crane to just lift the boat up, but that would cost around $10,000. So that wasn't practical. We then tried to tie up a line to the top of the mast and pull on the top of the mast to try to dislodge the keel from the bottom. That did not work. The boat was simply too heavy. Sea Spirit is a all-wooden sailboat that weighs 20,000 pounds. So instead, we decided to pull out Sea Spirit using Todd's sailboat. I ran the lines from Sea Spirit to Todd's sailboat. Todd was then going to try to pull Sea Spirit out.
So we are trying to save this sailboat right here. Trying to put it back on the water using that other ship right there. It's an experience.
On that loop in that line, you're going to go, I'm probably going to double my line into that and back to my boat.
Cool.
I want plenty on mine because they're just swimming. Right there, cover for that. Where? Right there. Right there. That little
After we ran the lines from Sea Spirit to the sailboat, Todd was going to pull Sea Spirit using his sailboat. Me and Carter got in the dinghy and we were going to pull on the line that went all the way up to the mast so that the keel can be dislodged from the gravel. We started pulling as hard as we could. The lines got very tense. At any moment, the lines could snap. It was amazing seeing this 20,000-pound boat being pulled by another very heavy boat. Unfortunately, that did not work either. The boat was simply too heavy and too stuck to be moved in any way. My competitors had scheduled a tow attempt for Sunday. That's when there was going to be a very high tide that could potentially lift the boat up and dislodge it from the ground. So I knew in my heart that if I wasn't able to remove the boat by Sunday, that it would most likely be gone forever. It was midweek, and I went to the boat after work as usual. I took out my prayer beads and I said this prayer. I said, Lord, if it is pleasing to you, Lord, you said that we shall not be fishermen of fish, but that we shall be fishermen of men. So, Lord, if it is pleasing to you for me to be a fisherman of men, grant me this boat, Lord, and I promise to take care of it. After I said this prayer, I got into my car and went back home. The next day, I went into work as usual, but as I drove across the Hanover Bridge, I looked into the direction of the boat, and I realized that the boat was not there. I got up into my office and I looked out the office window much in the same way that I did initially when I first saw the boat. And to my big surprise, I noticed that a small dinghy was pulling the boat into the direction of Baltimore City. I had a brief moment of realization and thinking that the high tide that was supposed to come in on Sunday to lift the boat up had instead come earlier in the week. It had come midweek. And the Good Samaritan apparently saw that the boat was drifting away into the bay and decided to simply rush in to help, tie up the boat, and then take it back to the marina that was close by. I mean, I was amazed. In that moment, I felt that my prayer was answered in the most unusual and spectacular way. So in that moment, I called Eugene and I said, Eugene, the boat is doing very well. The boat is no longer stuck in the bay. And I explained to him what had transpired and what had happened. And I told him, Eugene, my friend, you have 3 options at this point, is how I see it. You can decide to keep the boat because you in fact own the boat. You won it there, you brought it here. And really, in all of our attempts to remove the boat, we were very unsuccessful. And at the end of the day, the way I saw it was that God simply decided to raise the tide up earlier in the week and dislodge the boat. So you are fair in keeping the boat for yourself if you so please. I said, your second option is to give the boat to me, and I promise to take care of it. It will be 15 minutes away from your home. You can come to it anytime. You can use it anytime. And I promise to put my time and effort into rebuilding it. But unless I own it, I will not put my time and effort into rebuilding it. I knew it was going to be a big investment, and I realized that I needed to put in a lot of time, effort, energy into this, and if I didn't own it, then I wouldn't do it. And then the third option was to give the boat to my competitors that wanted to come in and tow it out on Sunday. They had put in a lot of effort, maybe more than I did. But regardless, we were in a competition, and it was a winner-take-all event. And so in that moment, he took some time to think. He had a pause, and he told me, Chris, I will ask you this one time. Do you want this boat? And I wholeheartedly said yes. I said, yes, Eugene, I really want this boat, and I promised to take care of it. So Eugene told me, Chris, meet me today after work, and I will sign off the ownership papers to you. So on the same day, we went to Nick's Fish House, which is an amazing restaurant in the south of Baltimore that's right on the water and overlooks the marina where Sea Spirit was brought in by the Good Samaritan. And so we went there right after work. We had a wonderful dinner, met his wife, and we signed off the ownership papers. And I acquired Sea Spirit from Eugene for the total purchase price of $1 US. Now, my part of the deal was to take care of it. My part of the deal was to restore it. And my part of the deal, after my prayer, was to be a fisherman of men. And in fulfilling that promise, after a lot of prayer, I decided to create this channel to tell the story of Sea Spirit and to inspire maybe and to strengthen anybody's faith in watching it and knowing that prayers do get answered in the most amazing ways sometimes. And that we always have to have faith and strength and persevere. And if you'd like to subscribe to the channel, please feel free to do so. If you'd like to donate to the channel, please do so in the links below. 90% of all of the proceeds will go toward marina fees, tools, restoration expenses, things of that nature. And 10% will always go to church and to charity. If you'd like to suggest charity, please do so on the website. You can find us at sea-spirit.us. Please also follow us on social media, and thank you so much for watching.